Shut up, bird. Hello, my funky fresh humans. Welcome back to another video. My name's Jick, your person that does things. Yeah, well, you know what? You're here for some tea, but I am not drinking tea today. It's a day off, so I'm having a different kind of tea. God, I am so white. There goes the youthful rating on this video. Here's the stories for today. As always, thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to like this video if you did enjoy your time here today, and if you'd like to see more on the daily, do subscribe. Now with that said, let's get on to the video. You know, I'm actually gonna get some tea.
First story. Am I the a-hole for distancing away from my family because of how they told me my girlfriend's blackness is holding me back? I mostly feel hurt, being honest, even though I act normal. I've always struggled with mental health problems. I grew up with parents who were very hard on me. They would put very unreasonable rules and punishments. I never understood my mum. Every time I fell off my bike as a kid, she would come in to hit me. My mum used to make me swallow soap every time I cursed. My dad is actually bipolar, and it's ugly when he starts his stuff. Wow, do we even need to go any further to assume he's not the a-hole? So I met my girlfriend at a Cuban restaurant because we both used to work there, and honestly, I felt madly in love with her. We started going out time to time. Me being from Puerto Rico, we went to PR to get away from all this madness. I thought by this time it would be good enough to show her off to family and friends. I usually don't show off partners until it's actually like a decent thing going on. I'm on the pale side. My girlfriend is black. When I finally take her to meet my family, they pretty much had this energy change, where you could feel it. The cold shoulder. My girlfriend kind of noticed it as well, and I was kind of getting mad because she is talking, and everybody just acts like she wasn't there. I follow my dad to the bathroom and ask him, "What's up?" And he just goes in Spanish, "Mijo, she's black. Those things hold you back. They hold us all back." Bruh, I almost felt like crying because it felt petty and stupid. It was surreal. I just told him that if it was holding them back, then I'ma leave because, I'm holding them back. A few minutes, under calm circumstances, I left with my girlfriend and we went to hang out, smoke a blunt because I had to process that my family is racist. I don't even know if I want to talk to them anymore. It sounds like your family is super toxic to begin with since they were abusive. The best bet is for you to go non-contact. You won't be missing out. Yeah, everyone else pretty much agrees unanimously that this guy's completely not the a-hole to want to go no contact here. I like this story though because it highlights that level of racism where it isn't so much aggressive racism, but just cowardice. Like they're disregarding the existence of your girlfriend purely for your sake because they care about your well-being and your opportunities in life. As in that's how they justify that disgusting mindset. Anyway, that was a short one. Moving on. Am I the a-hole for winking at a Christian girl? So I'm an 18-year-old female, and I was in school the other day. How unusual, I know. And we were discussing societal issues, and after talking for a while, we landed on being a gay person in this day and age in our country. Now, my teacher mentioned a statistic that states, on average, every 10th person is gay or just not straight. Upon hearing that, the aforementioned Christian girl snickered and whispered loud enough so that everyone could hear it. So OP is definitely one of those lesbians. So I just turned around, winked at her, and said, "You wish." Admittedly, I had the idea from an old Tumblr post. Well, after I said it, she turned pale and was clearly shaken, asking me how I could accuse her of such a thing. I just laughed and told her to loosen up a bit. A few classmates also laughed, and she started crying and had to leave the classroom. At the time, I didn't feel bad, and I still don't, not really. But both my teacher and a few classmates told me after the lesson to go and apologize, and I should have known not to say such a thing to her since she is very openly very Christian, and being a gay is a big no-no in her eyes. I mean, I refused to apologize, and I haven't even spoken to her since. It all happened last Friday. But I still get some evil stares from her general direction, so I'm wondering if I should just suck it up and go apologize. Nata, you are hilarious. If anything, I think you might have gotten a little too close to the truth. Yes, because everyone who's religious is just a secret, raging LGBTQ person. I don't know, I feel when we use that as a kind of insult to people who follow religion, it just furthers in encouraging them to view that sort of slander as derogative, and makes them further believe that being referred to as a non-hetero person is some bad thing. Back in my childhood, a lot of the times we'd say things were gay as a way to say they sucked. And obviously it wasn't until I was older that I realized that is not a good thing to be saying. And so implying she's also possibly a lesbian in some way to be like a clapback at them, it puts into their head that that's a bad thing. Don't use sexuality as a weapon against someone. It doesn't solve anything, it just inflates your own ego because you thought you clapped back well. Nata, I was raised a Christian and that is not Christian behavior. If she wants to be hateful of you for being gay, I see no reason you shouldn't just make her just as, if not more, uncomfortable than she made you. Hopefully she'll learn to frick off. Yeah, that said, she was definitely an a-hole for her starting this little bickerment. Yep, that's a word. I decided that's a word now. So you're definitely not the a-hole for how she reacted. Using sexuality to slander someone. She did do it first, but you did it second. You're both neither better nor worse than the other person in that regard. But her having a tantrum over it, yeah, that's really on her at this point. Big difference between being offended and just lacking a spine. Next story's a throwaway. Am I the a-hole for ignoring my roommate after she accused me of saying the N-word? I'm also an 18-year-old female, that's a real trend here. I'm currently dorming with another roommate who's a 19-year-old at college. Due to restrictions still going on in our area, students that are dorming can't go off campus too much. Since my family and I decided that it was safer for me to be in limited contact with them physically, I call them almost daily. So does my roommate. She speaks in English, and sometimes in Spanish, when she calls her parents and siblings. I speak in Punjabi and Hindi, since my parents and I don't necessarily communicate in English at all. Now, 3 days ago, I was on the phone with my mum. My roommate was in the room with me. We're both fine with talking to family while the other person is in the room. While my mum was on the phone with me, we started joking about something. I mean, all I remember is that I said something along the lines of, "Mum, I can't take college anymore. If I have to stare at a computer for 1 more hour, I swear my eyesight is going to go away permanently." For those who don't speak Hindi or Punjabi, the word eyesight sounds like the N-word. It doesn't mean anything bad, it literally just means eyesight. I grew up speaking those languages. It didn't even register in my head until my roommate brought it up that the word even sounded like a racial slur. She started cursing me out the minute I said that. I quickly told my mum that I would call her back and asked my roommate what was wrong. At first, I was concerned, but then she kept saying that I said the N-word, and I didn't even process it until I thought really hard about what I said. Okay, but ignorance doesn't outright excuse you, it just explains you. But anyway, let's move on. Eventually I did explain. I told her that what I said meant eyesight. When she didn't believe me, we pulled out Google Translate and verified. I even called a friend of mine in the same building as us and had her confirm. Apparently, she said she believed me after that. But today, the minute I woke up, she demanded an apology. She said I made her feel unsafe and that she couldn't trust me anymore. Oh boy, there goes the rest of her integrity in the argument. That is my language. Not everything is a direct translation to a racial slur. After I told her that, she started cursing me out again. I started ignoring her at the moment, but then she threatened to tell the RA. I think she wrote an email to the RA, so I'm not sure what to do now. I called my parents and they told me that I was right. My roommate, on the other hand, told her own parents and they think that I deserve a penalty. She told her other friends and gave them my number, and I've been getting nothing but hateful messages and racial slurs being directed at me. At this point, I really don't know if I was in the right. I feel like I should have just sucked up my pride and apologized, but even then, it's not like I did anything wrong. I'm really conflicted about this. What if I make the same mistake later on in public? What would I do then? I'm sorry, honey, but that's not how racism works. Once you get called a racist, you are one forever. There's no redemption? Nothing. You're just done now. Nata, go to the RA and get some help. If she's giving out your number, you have the right to have her sanctioned. Yeah, I think the thing you can be comfortable with here is the fact that you are factually in the right. You've got verification from your parents, from Google Translate, from your friends who also speak the same language. Honestly, don't back down. Don't enable your roommate's behavior. She's the reason why people who fight against actual racist issues have such a hard time doing it. Some interesting opinions on the other side of the fence, though. First, you should apologize, even if the word is from another language. You can try to find another word that has similar meaning to that. If that language has an N-word in that, it means your language is racist. You can try and apply a new word to replace it. Also, you need to take off your turban. It makes me uncomfortable even imagining it. Yeah, you deserve far more than just negative 21 points. I don't like either of you. I don't like her for giving out your info like that and refusing to recognize your culture is valid and that she misunderstood. Yeah, good, that's fair. I don't like you for being dismissive of how it made her feel, and her probably negative experiences with people who use the actual word. Okay, also actually very valid. I can't imagine dismissing someone else's cultural experience while wanting them to respect mine at the same time. It's the whole swastika debate again. People who practice religion wanting folks to respect the origins of the symbol while completely ignoring how it was co-opted for negative purposes, and that too has meaning for people. Actually a valid point. It does have a chance of swaying to everyone sucks here. At least before she started sending your number to everyone for them to just attack you. Before that, it was definitely even grounds. Nata, you were clearly speaking another language, and I would assume that she wasn't paying you any mind until she half heard what she thought you say the N-word. Instead of talking to you about it and getting clarification, she jumped right to you being a bigot. She even persisted with this stuff after you both explained yourself and brought another native speaker to verify your side. No, dude, this is not okay. If she refuses to peacefully let this go, I would speak to someone about it before it escalates any further. There are plenty of racists out there without unjustly labeling innocent people with that. See, and that's exactly it. Deep down, she wants you to be a racist. She really does. Because you're an easy target. It's easy to shame you and get everyone on her side to fight against you because you're easily likely to just submit to it and make her fulfill her ego of thinking she's changing the world for the better. She's making a stand. She has defeated racism. When in reality, she's just an extremist slacktivist, which I understand is a bit of a paradox of a term. But basically, she's fighting what she stands for in the laziest way. No shame on you for speaking your own bloody language. Fun fact, cookie means small penis in Hungarian. So according to her own wordplay politics, she should be slapping the faces of every parent who says to their kids if they want a cookie. Clearly the only kind of adults who would offer such genitalia to children would be pedophiles, so she's just doing the right thing. Oh, racism, pedophilia. Let's see if this video gets demonetized. Anyway, onto the JJs. Am I the a-hole for not being able to give him answers, or is he the a-hole for refusing to believe me? Gaping this thing is cheating. This video is not gonna last. How do I know if I'm toxic? Was there more I could have done? I've been dating my 28-year-old boyfriend for over 2 years now. Him and I first started by hooking up. He first asked me how many people I hooked up with, and I lied and said 4 or 5 because I was embarrassed to tell him that he was the second guy I hooked up with. I made him because we worked in the same bar together. My ex-boyfriend before him used to work there as well, and we were high school sweethearts. I broke up after I turned 19, so my boyfriend knew my ex-boyfriend from high school and knew about our relationship and breakup. My current boyfriend is the next guy I hooked up with after I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, and we happened to get into a relationship 6 months later. There's a 6-year age difference between us, and I knew he hooked up with a lot of girls before. He hooked up with 24 girls. I felt really embarrassed when he asked, so I lied about my number being higher. I know it's wrong to lie, but my lack of experience with other people made me insecure because of how experienced he is with other girls. Last year, he started acting really different. He did a lot of things that were really wrong, and it hurt me a lot, but I choose to forgive him because I love him a lot. Red flag. He eventually told me that he's acting different and did all these horrible things because he's hurt over the fact I was hooking up with someone else while I was hooking up with him. He believes that I hooked up with a 40-year-old regular at our bar. I told him it's not true, but he refuses to believe me. He says everything points to it, and I'm just lying. I explained to him about why I lied about how many people I hooked up with, but he just thinks I'm trying to cover it up. I don't know how I can make him believe it's not true. He said he had a hunch at the time when we were just hooking up, and people told him that I did. He said during the time we were just hooking up, I had a gaping lady part, and it closed up right after we got exclusive. I truly didn't hook up with anyone else, but he says if that's the case, then I should be able to explain why my lady parts was like that. He went through my phone and Uber trips and thinks I'm just really good at covering my tracks. He keeps saying he just wants me to admit it. He doesn't care that I did, but he doesn't like how I'm capable of continually lying to him about it and let him suffer. He says not having answers affect him mentally and every aspect of his life. But I honestly didn't do it, and I don't have any answers for him because it never happened. I don't know what to do. Is there anything I can do?
Well, the answer's quite obvious. What he needs is proof. Proof that you actually aren't very skilled at hooking up with strangers nor giving them a good time. What I recommend is going on Tinder, find a match with someone, bring your partner around while you go to a hotel room together, and have him watch how terrible you are at trying to have a one-night stand. Because clearly, if he keeps assuring himself that you are someone who would do this, then maybe possibly he's just a cuck inside and wants you to actually do it to fulfill his fantasy. Nata, he's gaslighting you. I would rethink this toxic relationship. This is gaslighting. There's a tragically high probability that he cheated on you and is accusing you to justify it in his own mind. Walk away from your own sanity. You deserve better. Let's also take this moment to say, lads, boys, let's face the facts here. If it was true that the female manhole, oh no, probably shouldn't call it a manhole, the female entrance is capable of gaping outwards until getting with a single guy exclusively, the logic just makes no sense. Women don't get loose depending on how many men they've been with in a short period of time. You can't believe that unless you also believe that your manhood shrinks and shrivels in strength and girth by how many women you sleep with. Those areas are muscles. They aren't like the cheap memory foam body pillow you bought off eBay. If you genuinely think a girl sleeping with 5 different guys over a week versus one guy 5 times over a week makes her looser, I don't know, it's like, just, do you deserve to get laid? Do you even know what a clit is? Next story by Miscellaneous Me. Am I the a-hole for not telling my husband I'm pregnant until I'm further along? Hello everyone, I'm 31 years old and I have recently found out I am pregnant. I am currently 7 weeks. My husband and I have been together for a total of 11 years and we have 2 girls together. Our relationship was fine until April 2018. I had a miscarriage around 10 weeks. I was devastated and it affected my mental and physical state. When I told my husband, he said things like, "What did you do? We have 2 healthy kids, so why did this happen? How did you mess this up? Why couldn't you take care of the baby?" I thought this was his way of grieving about the situation since people react differently, but it still hurt to hear. I felt like I failed at being a mother. I had to have a DNC and he refused to join me because he was too busy that day. I knew we were healing in our own ways, but I really wanted him to be there. It's a scary and sad process. He then told me, since I was the one who lost the child, I should be the one to break the news to everyone. It was a miserable experience. While I received the comfort from my family and in-laws, my husband still didn't care. It eventually got the worst of me, and I was clinically diagnosed with depression from miscarriage. I wasn't eating, and lost interest in many things. It was to the point my husband took notice. He called me lazy and homely, which didn't help. My mother suggested counseling to help us reconnect. During the sessions, my husband was very defensive when the therapist says his actions towards me were unhealthy. He stopped coming afterwards. We decided to take a break. It lasted for 3 months. In those 3 months, he explained the situation to family members and friends. Apparently, he got a reality check from everyone. He saw he was being a straight-up a-hole towards me and was profusely apologizing since then, promised to never verbally abuse me anymore, and couldn't believe how he got away with the nasty things he put me through. We tried therapy again, and I could see the positive outcomes for both of us. He genuinely changed, and we rekindled in 2019 with no problems. That's where this pregnancy comes in. Am I the a-hole for hiding this pregnancy? December 11th is my last day of the first trimester. I want to announce it for Christmas, but what if it's too early? To be honest, I want to keep this a secret until I'm 28 weeks. I don't want to show until then, and it would be better because third trimester babies have a higher chance of survival if anything happens, but I know that's too long of a wait. I also can lose the baby at any time as well. That's why I'm hesitant on saying anything at all. What if I have another miscarriage? What if I tell our families again only for my stupid body to lose another baby? Or worse, what if my husband blames me again and we split for good? I'm actually freaking scared. You would be the a-hole if you wait until 28 weeks. I get that you're scared and you have every right to be after what happened and what your husband did, but hiding this is not okay.
Yeah, I'm kinda leaning on everyone sucks here. Your husband, even though he made up for it later, should have not said any of those things. Losing a child is a painful thing to go through, and no one should have said those things to you. Even though he got a reality check, he should have been more concerned about your feelings rather than playing the blame game. On the other hand, being pregnant is a serious matter, and you shouldn't blindside your husband with the news, unless it planning to surprise him or something, but if you're not otherwise, why would you post this? But the popular vote says... Not the a-hole. Okay, voting done, moving on. I hate your husband. I hate him so much. I also miscarried at 10 weeks, started at 6, and we thought we were making progress, only to end up in the office for an ultrasound and they couldn't find a heartbeat. It was one of the worst days of my life. I couldn't pass the material on my own, even after 3 rounds of medication. We ended up at Planned Parenthood for a DNC. There was nothing wrong with me, and there was nothing wrong with you. Statistically, 1 in 4 pregnancies end in miscarriage, though doctors say it could be as high as 1 out of 2 because some happen before you even know you're pregnant. To have your partner turn on you like that after your body turned on you must have felt like the ultimate betrayal, and I'm so sorry. You deserve better. Totally understand this point of view, but I'm gonna absolutely argue the fact that this is completely anecdotal. You were completely siding with her purely because you experienced it yourself. The question here isn't if she's an a-hole for getting a miscarriage, it's if she's an a-hole for hiding this from her husband because she hasn't moved on from the bad behavior her husband exhibited, which he apologized for and made active effort to change for her and them. Her fear is absolutely understandable. But this isn't like buying a new TV after you accidentally broke the last one after picking it up. You're literally having another child. Your only justification and defense here is just because of your feelings. The logic that, oh well, he reacted badly when she got a miscarriage in the past, has already been rectified because he acknowledged he was a bad person, he actively tried to fix that, and, well, you've proven to us and said that he has fixed it. In reality, what you have here is an opportunity to test that. Clearly, you have a good network of friends and family around you should he ever act like this again, which is the safety net you need that if he does react poorly to you, then, well, straight back to therapy, and he'll know it. Again, look, I understand that you are afraid. Again, it is totally explainable. But having another child doesn't affect just you, it affects your husband too. Unless he's still being abusive, unless he hasn't changed at all, he deserves to know. Now I know I'm going to get some different opinions to what I'm saying here, probably a lot of backlash, but I am going to encourage you to say what you think nonetheless. So tell me, am I wrong? I understand it may just be your opinion as to why I'm wrong, but I still think it's valid to listen to it. Let me know what you think.
Well, there we go. Another video done. Thank you so much for watching. If you're this far into the video and you haven't liked it yet, come on, stop messing with my heart here. It can only take so much. Of course, if you have any thoughts or opinions of your own that I've completely missed over, leave them down below. I do like to read them. They help me in understanding where I'm missing the point. I am not extremely educated on everything in life, so obviously I'm gonna miss things. Once again, if you did enjoy today's content and you want to see it more regularly, then subscribe. That's the only way I'm going to keep doing them if I know people are going to be liking them. Regardless, thank you so much for sticking by, and if I haven't persuaded you yet to subscribe and all that stuff, then well, I guess I'll have to try again for the next one. My name's been Jack, you have been a lovely person to ramble at as always, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye-bye.